2 steps of our Start with Hello program, right? Our first step was see someone who is isolated. And we discussed that seeing is intentional. A lot of us have been in places that we're familiar with, been there plenty of times, but we didn't notice that piece of furniture or that artwork on the wall. It's not because it didn't exist, it's because sometimes we have to choose to see what we're looking for. Our second step was, that's okay, it's just a reminder, because you play a sport?
You talking to me?
Yeah. Yeah, and what sport is it?
None of your business.
Okay, well, whatever sport it is, I'm sure that you do things a whole bunch of times. So if it's basketball, you practice that free throw frequently. If it's football, you toss it back and forth. So we're going to repeat these things a lot, not because I don't think you hear me, but just because the more we say it, the more we do it, the better we're at it, okay? So our second step was reach out and connect, all right? We want people to know that I see you and you matter. So we're moving on to step number 3, and that is start with hello. But before we go on to the specifics, I want to talk to you all a little bit about expectations. So 1, the expectation is not that you become someone that you're not. Some people are more towards the introverted side. We talked about it a little bit earlier, right? So don't become a person that you're not, but use who you are to let someone know that you see them and that they matter. So I've already shared that I'm more extroverted, and I am that person. Oh, yes, damn. It's okay.
Stupid presentation.
That's okay. I hope you feel better.
Whatever, be quiet.
Okay. Okay. Well, I apologize for all of that, and I think that someone is going to assist him, having some difficulties. If there's anything I can do, let me know. But while the rest of us are here, we're going to keep going, all right? Because this is really important stuff that I want you to know, okay? So we talked about not being something that you aren't. I want you to know I'm more extroverted. So I'm that person that's at 6 o'clock in the morning like, hey! And most people around me like, I'm gonna need you to bring that down, okay? So if you're not that hey person at 6 o'clock in the morning, don't try to be that hey 6 o'clock in the morning person. You are enough. Use who you are to help someone else see that they're enough as well. Okay? Another expectation is how that person is going to respond to you can be very intimidating. And we already stated, I think it was Connie and Boo, right? Said that how might they perceive me, or what if they don't like me? That is so valid. But the point of this program is far more about them knowing that they matter and not about necessarily how they respond to you. All right? So start with hello. I want to first tell you that sometimes hello is enough. If I'm walking down the hallway, going to my next class, and I see that person, I say, hey, and I keep walking, in that short period of time, I've already let that person know, I see you and you matter. But there are times when we have the opportunity to go beyond hello. All right, we have the time, we have the opportunity, and we have a willing participant where we can say a little more. And that's what I want to share with you next. Tips, some tools, and some strategies to help you know what to do next. Another thing, I got 6 of them. I don't expect you to memorize all of them or even use all of them. The entire point is that hopefully you find something, at least one of these things I'm going to talk about, that you say, you know what, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to give it a shot, all right? So before we go there, I want to let you know. So again, I've shared, walking up and talking to a person that I don't know isn't particularly difficult for me. But I completely acknowledge and understand that it is difficult for a lot of you in here and a lot of people in general. So a survey was done, and 8 of the 10 people who responded said, I'd rather not. I'm a little hesitant. I don't want to talk to someone I don't know. I don't want to start a conversation. Completely reasonable. So I'm the odd one in the room, is what I'm trying to tell you. All right? If you're feeling like, I don't really like this, a lot of people feel that way. But in a separate survey, we found out that 8 of 10 people So if you think about an auditorium this size, about 400 of the 500 people in this room would have said, I'm glad I did. I don't want you to miss out on that opportunity to be glad that you had the opportunity to see someone, let them know they mattered, reach out and connect because you were afraid, because many people are. All right? So, are you ready for some of my tips and tricks? You can tell me. Yeah? All right. Not a problem. The first one is the 5 W's. All right. So, when we're in English class or literature, we learn to ask who, what, when, why, where. We're asking those questions because we want to get a full scope of the entire story. Not just a piece, but we want to get the whole picture. That's why we're asking these questions to other people. We don't want to just know that you're the kid whose locker's next to mine. We want to say, hey, what's the full scope? So, what's your name? Where do you live? What are some of the things you like to do? That is why we have a tendency to ask these questions, so we can get a full scope. So for some of you in the room, you might say, hey, I just wrote a paper last week. I can do that. This may be something you're willing to do. Some people still might not believe me, so let me give you something else you can do. If yous, all right? If you is one of those kind of questions where I want to know, hey, if you had the opportunity to do something, anything, what would it be? If you were a superhero, what kind of power would you have? If you could take a trip anywhere in the world, where would you go? Those will give you a good insight into who a person is. Now, I know people are still saying, who just gonna walk up to a person and ask them one of these questions, right? The good news is there are about 500 of you in this room right now who are hearing the same things that everyone else is hearing. So it's not like I pulled aside 5 people and said, just go start asking people random questions. When you start asking people questions, they're kind of gonna know where you're coming from. And that's gonna tell them that you see them, they matter, that you're reaching out and you're connecting, all right? So that was 2. I might got half the room who's already willing to do some of these, but if not, let's keep going. Here's number 3. Your faves, okay? We as people know ourselves better than other people know us. And I might look at you and say, this person wears blue every day. I bet their favorite color is blue. But when I come up to this person and I say, hey, what's your favorite color? They say orange. Okay. You might not have saw that coming, but you never would have known had you not asked the question. And so this is one of those questions where you're sitting in your classroom waiting for your teacher to come in. Simply turning to the person next to you and say, hey, what's your favorite TV show? You may have never seen that show before. It may say, hey, is it on Hulu? I'll check it out, right? Take that opportunity. So number 4, this or that. Would you rather? It's giving a person 2 options and seeing which one they like better. And this one is so simple that I'm willing to show this huge room just how easy it can be. All right? We're going to take cow and chicken. Would you rather be a cow or would you rather be a chicken? So, if you would rather be a cow, raise your hand high for me. All right, if your hand is up, I want you to take a look around the room and look at other people's whose hands are up. You see that? You have just learned something about someone completely across the room, someone you probably wouldn't talk to on an everyday basis, and you now know more about them than you did next to the person next to you who you thought was going to raise their hand, and they didn't. All right? If you'd rather be a, what did I say before, cow? I said chicken? I said cow. All right, if you'd rather be a chicken, raise your hand. Raise it high. Look around the room. All right? Take a look at who has things in common with you. It can be that simple. All right? So I got through 4 of them. I got 2 more. So if you haven't liked any of these last 4, I got 2 more opportunities for you to pick up on something good, all right? So, my shoes. My shoes is an opportunity for you to ask someone, where have you been? So I know we talk about shoes, But it really has absolutely nothing to do with whether it's a sneaker, a flip-flop, a high heel. It's about where have you been. So you have another opportunity, you're in an assembly like this and you're waiting for the presenter to get her clicker together and get it all taken together, asking someone, hey, where have you been? Where do you want to go? Going back to that question, if you could go somewhere, where would that be? Because all of these things really aren't about what you're asking. It's about letting someone know that you see them, they matter. You're reaching out and connecting, and you want them to know that they have value. All right? Down to the last one. So this is it, folks. No, it's not it. There are plenty of ideas. But I want to let you know, number 6, and we talked about this a little bit before, the handwritten note. But I want to further emphasize that this note can be on a Post-it note, an index card, the back of that English test that you didn't do so well on and you ripped up. It doesn't really matter. You leave it somewhere for someone to find it. And it can say something as beautiful as, your smile makes me smile, or it can just be a smiley face that you scribbled on a piece of paper and left on their desk for them to come. So someone knows that you're thinking about them. When I was in high school, a much smaller high school, senior year, my English teacher said that she wanted each senior to write something nice about every other senior. Now that sounds ridiculous to you because your school is so large, but for mine it wasn't that unreasonable. And we were all like, why are we doing this? Oh, whatever. So you wrote it, it had everybody's name, you wrote a little something, you turned it into her. We forgot about it. Our last day of school, that teacher went around to every single senior and handed them an envelope. And inside of that envelope was what every other senior had said about that person. And I'm not kidding. Every now and then I still open up my senior book and read about the things that people said about me so many years ago. It really does matter, and it can have an impact, okay? So I just covered 6 of a large variety of things that can be done, but it's a little something for everybody. Everyone is not that, hey, 6 o'clock in the morning person. I get it. You don't have to be. But hopefully you can pull something out and be prepared to let someone know that you see them and that they matter. So I also want to show you how easy and quick this can be, and that it doesn't have to take a long time. So I've asked a couple of your peers to help me out to show you just how easy and quick it can be, all right? So we're going to pretend that I am a young lady who is in the cafeteria line, and I have a tendency to be someone who may be isolated, okay? So I'm here.
Hey, LaShonda, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
Hey guys, there's a couple of seats over here if you want to come sit with me.
That'd be great. Cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Give your peers a round of applause, please. All right. I probably took about 90 seconds of your time, but in 90 seconds, I showed you 3 different people doing 3 different things that had the ability to make me feel like I was seen, that I mattered, and that I had value. It really can be that simple, okay? One last point about all of the 6 icebreakers and things I told you. I know that we're looking to see that isolated person. But remember also I told you that I was more extroverted. I was the happy, smiley, energetic person all the time. That's what people expected from me, so that's what I gave them. But when I felt lonely and I felt isolated and I was down, people didn't notice because I continued to smile. I continued to have energy, and I continued to be around them. I I think that these are things that you can do with everybody. Everybody. So the people that are isolated and you don't know it, they still feel like you can see them. And practice makes perfect, right? If we're practicing this with everyone, then when we do see that person that's isolated, we reach out and connect. It's not as difficult or scary because we've done this so many times, all right? So I've told you what the program is. I've told you how the program works. But what I haven't done yet is told you why you should do it. I'm telling you that you should do this because, one, that Bronco Nation, that community that we were talking about, it depends on you to make everyone feel included, like they're a part and they're connected. But it doesn't have to stop in this school. I'm telling you, go to the grocery store. Start seeing somebody who's isolated, reach out and connect. You'll be a role model for your parents. People in the neighborhood will start to see this. And then it won't just happen in your school. It can start happening everywhere. So your community is anywhere where you are. And you can use this as a tool to make all of your communities connected. The next thing is friendships. I today have friends from high school that I'm pretty sure I'll be friends with for the rest of my life. If I hadn't taken the opportunity to reach out, or if they hadn't reached out to me, I may have missed out on some really great experiences, friendships, and opportunities. Your best friend may be sitting in this room with you right now. And honestly, it might not be the person that's sitting next to you. It could be somebody way back there in the bleachers that you haven't met yet. And you don't want to miss that opportunity by not reaching out and starting with hello. The next thing, it makes a difference. All of these things that we're talking about, they make a difference. That young lady standing in that lunch line, it made a difference to her. And if we can make a difference to even just one person, it's worth it. And finally, when I started this presentation, I told you, I take the job that I'm doing right now just as serious as I would if I were a firefighter or a surgeon. Because a firefighter and a surgeon know that on any given day, they have the potential to save a life. I suggest you do this because you too have that ability. You can help someone that you don't even know needs help by simply seeing them, letting them know they matter, reaching out and connecting, and starting with hello. So, it works. We've done this program a lot of times. We've had a lot of people give us feedback, but I want to give you a personal story of how this works, even before the program itself existed. Had a friend in high school. We were fairly close. We hung out a lot. Wouldn't say we were best friends. That's okay. And in high school, her father passed away. After her father passed away, she became a little more distant, which I thought was reasonable. But it started to last a long time. And so one day I was doing something and I thought of her. And sometimes you'll randomly think of a person or they'll pop in your mind. Don't ignore it. Send them that text, give them that call. So I thought of her and I thought, oh, I haven't talked to her in a while. So I called her. See, we didn't have text messaging back then. I had to pick up a phone with a cord, if you even know what that is. And I had to dial her number and call her. She picked up the phone. She sounded sad. I said, hey, Rel, I haven't talked to you in a while. You doing okay? Oh, I'm doing all right. Okay, well, do you want to hang out? No, not really. All right. I just want you to know I'm thinking about you. I hung up the phone, went about life, didn't think about it. Ariel ended up transferring schools, so we didn't go to school anymore, and we lost contact. And actually, we reconnected probably about 3 years ago. So it's a long time. 3 years ago, so I was talking to her. We were catching up. This is what I did. This is what I did. Catching up, talking. We were getting ready to get off the phone, and I said, hey, I just want you to know, if you ever need me, you can call me. And she said, I know. I knew that in high school when you called me the day I was thinking about killing myself. I never knew that. I still get chills. I didn't know. I just knew I hadn't talked to her in a while. She never told me. I didn't see it. But it mattered. Reaching out to people, whether they look isolated or not, whether it feels comfortable or not, has the potential to help someone, even if we're unaware of it. So, let's start today. I'm thinking that you don't even have to wait till you leave this room. You do have to wait until I'm done talking, okay? But you don't even have to wait until you leave this room to start seeing someone, letting them know they matter, reaching out and connecting, and starting with hello. It really can be that simple. Your school has a lot of resources of things that you can do as a school, but we already talked about things that you can do as an individual, and you can do them right now. I'm excited because I know we're going to hear some great things that are coming out of this school because you are putting this into practice. So for the final time, I want to go over the steps. I'm very excited, and if you are willing, I'm going to ask everybody to stand up. All right? We're going to go through these steps, and I want you to tell me these steps as if you really mean it and you really believe it, all right? So step number 1 is?
See someone isolated.
All right, that's pretty good. What about step number 2?
Reach out and connect.
Absolutely. Why don't you all do that with me? What's step number 2? Reach out and connect. Absolutely. And what is step number 3?
Start with hello.
Oh, what? Start with what?
Hello.
What?
Hello.
Hello. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. All right, go ahead and have a seat. I just want to let you know, that's it, first of all. I am genuinely thankful for the opportunity to give you this information. I am genuinely happy that we've been invited here to give you tools to let people know that they matter and that you all can create a community that's connected. So as you do so, please hashtag us. We're a little older, but we're a little hip. You can hashtag start with hello, hashtag Sandy Hook Promise, and let us know all the great things that you're doing. Have a good afternoon, everyone.